You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
Hello listeners and welcome to the Whiteout Ski Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Crystal Ski Holidays. I'm Dom from In the Snow magazine, and of course I'm here with my co-host Rob. I'd forgotten what you look like, it feels so long. How are you?
Well,
Rob Stewart from Ski Press.
You've been gallivanting around the world, Dom. That's what. Yeah, no, I'm great. Yeah, just coming off the back of the Winter Olympic Games and absolutely loving what I've been seeing.
I was going to post a picture of my TV in the corner on Instagram and say, any ideas what I can use this for now?
Yes. Let's face it, in general, seems to have gone down really well with the public. Being on the same time zone obviously helps compared to some of the other Olympics, not taking away what they did. But I think everyone's got into it. Yeah, everyone really got into it. And it was great.
We're going to get into it today. We're going to get into it thick and fast as our Winter Olympics special edition episode. But before we do that, let's take a listen to our headline sponsors, Crystal Ski Holidays.
It's good to be back in the mountains. This is your happy place. On your skis. Snowy peaks all around.
Oh wow, it's beautiful.
Get that feeling and so much more with Crystal Ski Holidays. Whether you're looking for new slopes to enjoy or want to head back to one of your all-time favourites, choose from over 150 resorts and get everything sorted in one easy package. Find out more at crystalski.co.uk. APTA and atoll protected.
Oh, it does make you just want to go on holiday, doesn't it?
Oh, you know what? I'm missing my skiing, Dom, and I feel very lucky.
You can't say that.
No, I am, because I've got a big chunk in the middle of the season this year. And I know it's horrible. I don't mean to sound ungrateful because I get to go skiing more than most people, but I'm just saying I'm missing it. I'm missing it, which is a good thing, right? Because I'm still in love with it. Yeah. So in this week's special Winter Olympics episode, we have got a cracker for you.
Oh, yeah.
We have. We're bringing you an exclusive chat with Eddie the Eagle Edwards.
Love it.
Always enjoyed speaking to Eddie. Yeah. He's shared his take on the games and some of the things people have been talking about. We're going to be joined by TNT Sports Charlie Guest, giving us a bit of behind-the-scenes insight into what's really been happening at the Olympics and what the future holds for some of the British winter sports Olympians as well. Great to have Charlie on. And plus we've got a roundup of some of the weird and wonderful headlines that this year's Winter Olympics has delivered.
Yep, loads of fun things. We just made the decision, didn't we, that all the results and the medals and everything, it's all been covered by every single TV channel, website, news agents. We wanted to cover some of the fun stuff that went on in the Olympics, didn't we? So let's get head first into it. What's first, Rob? What's your first story that you latched onto?
Well, I'm just going to, sort of mention a Claudia Riegler at 52 years of age and Andreas Promegger at 45 years of age, competing in the parallel snowboard giant slalom. But still, it's brilliant, isn't it? Someone, let's just say our sort of age, right? Yeah.
I know.
Is competing in the Winter Olympics. Thought Rob, that 20 years ago.
What would be your Winter Olympic sport? What would it be? You can only choose one.
Mine? Oh, curling.
Would it? Good on you.
Well,
I'd be your little brusher man.
I mean, physically, let's face it, physically, you think that if you're in reasonable good shape in your 50s, you might still have a chance. The thing is about curling, maybe we'll talk about curling later because it's captured the nation, hasn't it?
Oh, totally.
Absolutely captured. And it's captured me. I've been loving watching the curling.
Yeah.
And I've played curling over the years. I probably first tried curling about 25 years ago, and when I'm in ski resorts I sometimes end up doing curling, not that often, and it's great fun though. It's great fun. But when I see those guys and the women and the men have done fantastically well. Obviously the skill levels are incredible.
It is unbelievable, isn't it? And talking of curling, of course, there was the whole Canadian story of the guys who ended up, obviously the Canadians are known for their very polite way and everything else. But did you see when he absolutely lost it and was complaining about the double touch of the curling kettle as it was pushed down?
Yes.
That was pretty...
Well, I think that was the Sweden match, wasn't it?
Yes.
They were competing against Sweden at the time, and the Swedes went, hang on a second, you can't do that. And then it all went off.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got the friendly Canadians.
Yeah.
And the Swedes are not, they're not generally the most aggressive nation in the world, are they? Yeah. And then suddenly you've got these two sort of nice countries having a bit of a fight with each other on the ice.
The environment where curling's like that sort of very sort of passive environment.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's not ice hockey.
To suddenly, I mean, fair play though. I mean, but then I think it transpired. I ended up going away, but didn't it transpire that a few people were doing this sort of final touch, weren't they? Did they capture sort of 2 or 3 people on
Maybe.
camera doing it?
I don't really know the rules, but all I know is that once you've released that stone, You're not allowed to touch it anymore. And
but of course, that's exactly what they were doing, weren't they? They were releasing the stone and then just giving it a final touch as to where
you haven't put enough power on it, and suddenly you're.
Exactly.
It could be a bad habit. I was thinking about this. It's like, is that just a bad habit that he's got into when he's doing his curling and no one pulls him up on it and haven't done for years, and suddenly he's found himself in the wind? I mean, these guys have won medals before. They're obviously, they're world champions. It's not like they've never seen the limelight before. But, is it just a subconscious thing? He doesn't even realise he's doing it. I don't know. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah. He denied it, but clearly, the footage showed that.
I like the fact, there's plenty on social media that shows he absolutely did. They said Mark Kennedy told Sweden's Oscar Eriksson to fuck off after a disputed stone touch. I just think that's just doesn't fit in with curling at all. It doesn't, does it? It's
those stones. Pick one of those things up. They weigh a bloody ton. They come from the same Scottish island, all of them.
Yeah.
And they do weigh a lot. You could do some damage. Actually, it's blooming hard to pick them up to start with. So.
They're like 8, 9, 10 grand for a set. Big money.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they take many, many months to produce a set. It's an absolute fine art.
Amazing.
So, yeah,
it's a great sport, and I think...
Yeah. What else have we had? So, politics. The American freestyle skier Hunter Hess, of 27, expressed his mixed feelings about representing the US. He was talking about the immigration debate. His comments reached the Oval, and Donald Trump responded on Truth Social. He said, well, Hess is a real loser, and questioning why he made the team if he didn't want to represent the country. So... that was pretty fiery. It's not something I'd want to get involved with, that's for sure.
Look, we don't talk about politics, do we, on our Whiteout?
Try not to.
Try not to. At the end of the day, this guy's obviously expressing his opinions about representing his country in a time when he feels that the country is obviously not, he's not happy. Right? Yeah. He's obviously not happy about some of the things internationally that his country is portraying, and he's made his opinion clear on that. And then the president of the country tells him he's a loser for that. Yeah. Now, all I'm going to say is, as a leader, if you've got people saying, I've got a problem, then actually listening might be a better solution than just calling them a loser. Yeah. And I think, I'm sorry, this is not a general comment about Mr. Trump, President Trump, but it's not a cool thing to do.
When people come on the podcast and call us losers, we listen, don't we? We listen and we respond. We don't just tell them that they're losers. So,
no, but
it's good advice, Rob. Good advice.
Yeah, Hunter took it badly, but actually, at the same time, if he's going to say things like that, then he probably should have a thicker skin.
Yeah. What else caught your eye?
Yeah, it was a nice moment, wasn't it, with the Italian speed skater Francesca Lollobrigida winning the gold in the women's 3,000 metres. And suddenly her victory moment was interrupted by her 2-year-old son, Tommaso.
Love it.
Who just basically pinched her face and demanded lots of attention during this whole post-race interview. And it was kind of a nice moment, really. And then I think... didn't she try and bring him down the tunnel, back into the tunnel, and then they stopped her from doing that at the time? They said, no, you can't have kids coming down there. It was all... I think so. It was a funny moment.
Yeah.
A nice. What else have you spotted?
Eileen Gu, who I read that she was earning 23 million a year in endorsements. Blimey. I've
heard that.
But there's not that many sports people there. But anyway,
and China, and I think China is also paying her a lump sum of cash. I think it's $6 million.
Watching her in the half pipe. I'm no big dancer, Rob. I'm pretty good. No big dancer, as you know. But when I was watching this, the extension on her arms and the way she sort of flailed her bodily parts as she was she was a different level to other people in that half pipe that I was watching yesterday. I've only just arrived back yesterday, so I only just caught the back end of that. But I guess really the thing is that between her and Mathilde Grimaud-Duel in the slopestyle, they absolutely sort of goaded each other on to become the best that they could possibly be, and I think it was just fantastic to watch. Just incredible to see the top end quality of that. And in the half pipe yesterday, of course, when Zoe Atkins got the bronze medal, she absolutely had to raise her game. She was jumping 5.5 meters off the top of that half pipe, the size of a double-decker bus off the top of that half pipe. It's incredible
Oh, it is. There's
But I
some
think that
controversy
Eileen
around that,
Goodall's-
isn't there? There's some controversy
There is.
around that because obviously, you know, the bronze medal is not to be sniffed at. And it's a great result, and she's not complaining about it. But highest jump, you know, I think there was a bit of a call. That really the bronze could have been the silver. It is what it is. Freestyle skiing is a judge sport.
Yeah, I know, it's tough, isn't it?
Judges look at things in certain ways, and they make their decisions, and that is the way it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Take it.
What else did you notice?
Well, Gus Kenworthy. I mean, firstly, I'm going to say, wow, absolutely fantastic. Coming out of retirement and getting his best ever Olympic result. And I don't think it was expected, actually. I don't think people really expected that to happen. But before the Olympics started, he posted on Instagram about, you know, ice. So, you know, put the words expletive ice in the snow, apparently by urinating those words.
That's a
Although-
talent. It's an Olympic talent in itself.
Well, I've got to say, I don't know if you've seen the actual post, but if Gus can urinate that accurately, he needs a gold medal because it was bloody well written. I mean, I've tried, you know, let's face it. Come on.
Calligraphy.
We've all tried, haven't we? We've all tried to put something in. We've all been there, you know, creating yellow snow. Sorry, I mean, you know.
I love
And
it.
I just, yeah, I mean, wow. Impressive. It was impressive itself to see that art on the snow written so well. Anyway, that's what he said he'd done. And it was a weird and funny little story.
What about the broken medals, though? I mean, that was a big story, wasn't it? So, a number
Well,
of
I don't know a
athletes,
lot about
including-
that, actually.
Well, I saw that Breezy Johnson, I think it was, and Alisa Liu and Jackie Wiles, they reported broken medals. They were turning up and going, look, the blooming ribbons come off the actual medal part. But apparently, you know, because a few people were joking, they came on their press conference with their medal in sort of 3 pieces. But they sort of suggested that it was a breakaway mechanism to stop choking, or that they had snapped them under the excitement, which is
Right, okay.
surely not a plastic medal. But the Olympic Committee did end up acknowledging that there had been a problem, and they said,
Right.
a solution has been identified and a targeted fix has been put in place. Athletes whose medals have been affected are encouraged to return them through the appropriate channels for repair. So I guess they did acknowledge that there was a problem with them in the end. But I mean, God, I've never heard of Olympic medals breaking, have you?
No.
Crazy.
That is a bit strange, and clearly, you know, you don't want to receive a gold medal, do you? And then it sort of breaks in your hands, which is a bit
Imagine.
strange. But anyways,
Yeah,
is it?
it makes a bit of
I
a
mean,
mockery of it.
if it was made of chocolate and it was one of those big chocolate coins, you'd be quite happy, wouldn't you?
The sort of Olympic
actually-
medal that I've won. Another good fun story was the Dutch speed skater Jutta Leerdam, who unzipped her tight racing suit after winning gold and revealed a different branded sports bra underneath. So yeah, another cool little story there. While some speculated about ambush marketing, it's standard practice to unzip those tight suits, as you know. You're always doing at the end of a slope, and when you come down to that sort of what's it called, the rond-point at Maribel, you always unzip your suit, don't you? It's the first thing you do.
What, unzip my suit, ready for the après? That was
Straight down to the bottom, you unzip your suit straight to the bottom, and you reveal your sports bra and everything else that keeps everything in place.
well, obviously, I do that all of the time. Just this is a random. I don't know what to say. All I'm going to say to that is, yesterday I got sent a link to the snow camp, the Three Valleys Rally this year in Val Thorens, just off the other side of Maribel, obviously. And I've been shown the suit that I have to wear for the Three Valleys, which is a tight leotard with silver stars on it that basically
nice.
is very low cut.
Oh,
And so, actually, yes. I mean, I will be having to strip
Go to the
down
gym
to
for a
my
few months.
sports bra when I ski down to the Rond-Point in Maribel in April. Well done to the Dutch, because they've had a really good. I think they're third in the table. Norway, USA, Holland, the Netherlands. Brilliant. Of course, it's probably mostly to do with the fact that they are very, very good at ice skating. But yeah, they've had a very successful Winter Olympic Games.
and certainly as Jutta unzipped her top, it certainly went viral on Instagram, that's for sure. What about another story, Rob? I mean, I don't know whether you actually caught this one. There's a skier from America, a female skier called Lindsey Vonn. Do you know her?
I think I've heard of her.
Yeah. She had an accident. I don't know whether you saw this. She had an accident during the warm-ups. Did you see this story?
Oh, Lindsay.
Poor Lindsay. I mean, I don't know. What's your view, Rob? Conspiracy or not?
Conspiracy?
Yeah.
What, that someone set her up so she would crash into one of the top gates on the course?
I'm wondering, the first accident in the warm-up, do you think it was as bad? You were there.
Yeah, so I was in Commentator just before the Winter Olympics, and I was watching Lindsay ski in the women's downhill Friday when she had her accident. Yeah. And I was right at the bottom of the course, and she was standing meters from me, limping away into the tent, and we were all, of course, horrified and shocked that she had this horrible crash, and then she got helicoptered off the mountain quite shortly after that. Only to be told the next day that she was going to race in the women's Super G, but she never showed up for it. So I don't know what that was all about, because it was a bit weird. She was on the start list, and literally everyone was waiting for her to go down, like skier number 15, I think. And then it was like, oh no, she's not around. Oh, okay. And then to say, right, she's going to race in the Winter Olympic Games without an ACL because she'd ruptured her ACL. Yeah. It was like, wow. And it was controversial, wasn't it? It was a lot of people had different opinions about this.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying, why would you do that?
Yeah. And I kind of get why you would do that. In my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I'm not massively into conspiracy theories. I'm wondering whether the original accident, while it was bad, may not have been a full-on ruptured ACL. And because I think if it was, to compete at that level would almost be impossible. I've got massive respect for Lindsay Vonn. I think she's an absolutely incredible, superstar athlete, if you like.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I think that accident, the big accident on the Olympic run was terrifyingly hideous to watch. It really was awful. And she's clearly done a lot of damage there with multiple fractures.
So,
and I think sort of putting herself in that position, I sort of think, really, would anybody of that level do that? Maybe they would. Maybe they're just so committed that they just kind of blindly look through it and said, no, you're not stopping me at this point. I do not care. I'm doing this. This is the kind of people we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. From what I understand, Lindsay was wearing a knee brace. It is possible because the knee brace will support the knee. It will basically do the job of that ACL to a certain extent. And so I thought, fair enough. If she'd come back from retirement and struggled to win anything or get anywhere close in the World Cup this season leading up to it, and that's one thing. But she had that gold medal in her sights. She had that goal. She wasn't going there just to compete. She wasn't going there, I've done another Winter Olympic Games. She was going there to win the gold medal. 100%. No other 100%. Outcome for her was interesting. I mean, she probably would have taken a medal, right? And been quite happy with that. But that was the only reason why she wanted to race, because she wanted to win. And that, to me...
Do you reckon we'll see her back?
No.
That's it now.
I just don't think so.
No.
I think that's it. This is my own opinion. I haven't spoken to Lindsay Vonn about this, obviously, but I think her friends and family will say, I think you're done now. You've proved your point. You won World Cup races at 41 years old. You're not going to make another Winter Olympic. But you never know, do you? No. Actually, could we see Lindsay at 45 on again? I mean, it's not actually impossible.
No. Look at our first story. 45 and 50-year-olds.
Right. Yeah.
And then what about the old wolf dog? Did you see that? Running down the cross-country course. Did you see that?
Yes. The famous Nazgul.
Yeah.
The wolf dog.
Nazgul the wolf dog.
Yeah, that's nice.
Quite something.
Yeah, it's nice,
flying
isn't it?
Better than a bear, I suppose.
Better than the bear. Yeah, why not? I mean, that was a nice little distraction for people.
Yeah. We obviously had Penis Gate. We've already covered that, haven't we?
And, we've got Eddie coming on today to this podcast. And you know what? I just didn't even bother asking him about it.
Been and gone now. Good fun story.
Yes.
Injecting your penis to make it bigger so you fly further. I mean, we're all doing it. The quicker we all tell everybody, the better.
I think all I'm going to say to that is, well, there's a few things I would say to that. Firstly, if you're going to stick something into your penis to make you fly 20 centimeters longer, you got to look yourself in the mirror and possibly have a good discussion with yourself, because it's just not worth it, right? It really isn't worth it. Secondly, fortunately, we haven't seen evidence of this actually happening. Who wants to see that? But it is sketchy whether it did happen or not.
Yeah.
And thirdly, I did actually have an off-the-record chat with Eddie about this. And his take on it was, it ain't going to work anyway. So, you know. And the other thing I'm going to add a fourth thing to this, is that I know other ways of enlarging your penis without sticking a needle into it. Do you? I mean... You know, there's got to be more fun ways of doing than sticking a needle.
Last resort. It'd be my last resort, that's for sure.
I'm saying what I'm thinking, but you know, there are definitely other ways to, do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So a lot's gone on at the Olympics outside of all the medals and the fantastic performances of the British team. I know that we're going to have a quick run through some of the winners and close winners. There's no losers in the Olympics, surely.
No.
So maybe we just have a quick run through of some of the highlights that we picked up on of winners and very close winners in the Olympics. So we had Johannes Uhusfoot Klæbo from Norway, 6 golds, tying Eric Heiden for most golds in Winter Games.
Amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely
that is
amazing.
Incredible, isn't it?
Amazing.
Imagine coming home with 6 gold medals, all in 3 pieces each.
Show
18 pieces of medals to come home with.
Bit show-offy, that, isn't it?
It's a bit showy.
Going to be overweight on the flight back home.
Exactly. This is a big problem.
Definitely going to be overweight on the flight back home. You've got to explain that one. Although, I mean, maybe he'd wear them all around his neck. I mean, yes. I think I would actually.
Well, maybe as they were all
on the plane,
as they were all made of chocolate, then it's probably not so
true.
heavy.
Yeah. Let's mention Federica Brigoni, the Italian skier who won 2 gold medals. I mean, not expected, right? Not expected Federica to do that. Coming back from injury from the end of last season, you know, where she had a very, very nasty crash in the Italian Championships, and no one expected her to do what she did. All I'm going to say was that the week before the Olympics, I was standing next to her in a bar, and she seemed in a very, very good mood, and she was running around and, you know, seemed very chilled out with the Italian ski team. It was brilliant. You know, I'm not suggesting that in any way I had an impact on Federica winning the 2 golds, but I was obviously projecting. Obviously, yeah. Gosh, anyway, sorry, I'm going off on major tangents there. What am I talking about?
We also have Benjamin Carl, the Austrian, 40 years old, which sounds very young to me, but the oldest Winter Olympic individual gold medalist. So, very good results there.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Who else? What else do we have notable?
Can I talk about Atle McGrath? Because he was my gold medal tip for the... I'm Atle. He's such a nice bloke, and... He'd lost his grandfather a few days before. His first run was absolutely incredible. I mean, he was just skiing better than anybody else. And he took that, he was first place after the first run. And I just thought, you know what? This guy, he's skiing better. He has been skiing better. Every World Cup, he can blow out sometimes. But just the way he's skiing, to me, he looks like a level above everybody else. And then, of course, what about a third of the way down the second run? He straddles the gate.
Yeah.
So it went from, and he was in the lead. He was well in contention on that second run, and it's blowing in a microsecond.
Yeah, such a shame, awful. And he threw his gear off and went and laid down in the snow on his own, didn't he? And
well, it was a bizarre scene. I was quite concerned for him. I was like, "What's he doing? Where's he going? How far is he going to walk?" And he sort of went about, I don't know, it was about 60 or 70 meters, I think, across this snowfield, and got to the forest and just went, I probably shouldn't start walking through the forest, and just collapsed on the floor.
I suppose at that moment in time, again, you know, back to the Lindsey Vonn thing, is these people are on a whole new level, aren't they, to most athletes, and consequently, when it goes belly up at your special moment, you just lose all reality, don't you? But you know, hopefully he's back in the game and gets his headspace back together.
And you know, I think those are the sort of things at the Winter Olympics that make people realise these people are not robots. They're human beings. Right. They're exceptional beings, exceptional. And I thought, I thought it was. And on
incredible. A different vein, you know, the same sort of personal, real things. I don't know whether you saw Sturla Holm Lagerud's confession, the biathlete after winning bronze medal, and then in the TV interview live was telling how he cheated on his girlfriend 3 months earlier live on national TV. God. I mean, quite a bizarre story, but similarly in the same vein as what you're talking about, these athletes are pushed to the very limits, you know, whether they're commentating or performing, and it releases everything you've got, doesn't it? So yeah, that was quite. He
didn't come out brilliantly. No, like he wasn't. He wasn't universally loved for doing what he did, and I think it was a tricky one, wasn't it? I mean, he's acknowledged the fact that he's made this huge mistake. He's done that publicly.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a bit of an argument to say, well, that wasn't really necessary. And I think he's also said, maybe I didn't really do the right thing, which is good. I think he's acknowledged that. He's screwed up big time, basically.
And then, obviously, another great story, one of the final stories, Charlotte Banks and Hugh Nightingale, who won Team GB's first snow gold in 102 years in the mixed snowball cross. That was incredible. I mean, it was it seeded 13th, both overcome tough individual runs and delivered incredible performances to get that victory. I mean, that was fantastic. Even I managed to see that, and I was the other side of the world.
Yeah, sure.
Incredible, absolutely incredible result.
It was, and you know, obviously Charlotte was really disappointed with her own individual race, where she had some pressure on her to perform, and it didn't work out in the end. And then to come to compete with Hugh, who's obviously an amazing snowboarder, but probably wasn't expected to medal.
Yeah.
And the sum of their parts created this gold medal for both of them. It's a great story. It's such a great... And it was brilliant to see. And I was glued to the TV for that race. Just brilliant to see that we got that gold medal.
So then moving to the future of our British snow sports athletes, we've performed incredibly, and often the medal table doesn't tell the full story. We are lucky enough to be joined by Charlie Guest, Winter Olympian, to the show to talk a little bit about the future of what the Olympics might hold and what our British teams might look like going into the next Olympics in another 4 years' time. And as we know, Charlie flew the flag for Team GB at Pyeongchang in 2018 and Beijing 2022 and made history as the first British woman ever to win an Alpine European Cup race. So, Charlie, welcome to the show. Nice to hear from you, and thanks for joining us today.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon. After getting some good rest after the 2 weeks of Olympic madness. Sad that it's all over, but ready to go again in 4 years' time.
Well, I am getting that kind of like, I'm missing something in my life feeling already. It's definitely not there anymore. And I think speaking to friends, they're also feeling the same, which must mean you've been doing something right and everybody else has been doing something right over there as well.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. It was quite nerve-wracking, I suppose, first time really on the TV end of sport and sort of bringing it to the audience and providing that good show.
What were your highlights, Charlie? Was there, you specifically like to follow one sport? Do you get drawn into everything like the rest of us?
Drawn into everything. And I think that was even the cooler thing about being on the broadcasting team with TNT was I was surrounded by all the experts from all the sports every single day. So I would go in and I'd make up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and we sat in the room getting all the lowdown from everybody from what has been happening. So getting all the gossip from biathlon, from big air, from skeleton, from bobsleigh. It was like just putting everything together.
So cool. Very cool indeed.
And what about some of the stories then? Let's dive into some of the skiing stories. Go for it. What were the highlights for you when it came to the alpine ski racing?
I think it was women's Super G. I mean, it's a toss-up between women's Super G and women's GS for me. Really stood out as being super tight, exciting races. And I think Super G was my biggest surprise because Federica Brignone just sent it. She put down some brilliant turns through the mid-section in that diagonale between Delta and Curvone on the Tofana. And it was just from that moment on, I was like, she's absolute lightning. She came down into the finish and I was like, that's a podium. that has to be a podium. There's nobody that we've seen anywhere near to that. And I think seeing her story coming into these games, obviously overshadowed by the Lindsey Vonn scenario, she sort of slipped under, I suppose, our radar in Great Britain. I mean, even our Alpine experts knew that it was there, but she sort of slipped on by and then produced this amazing fairy tale ending. It was just, I think that was one of those moments I was just sat there just grinning.
It was very cool, wasn't it? And you know, just when you watch that run, I think everybody could see that she was just a level above the rest. And considering what she's been through, it was a shock for everybody, but she was just so good, wasn't she?
And consistently really, really good. Marianne Redler was also very, very good. You saw her sort of coming into the more technical parts of the courses, and you could just tell that some athletes had something about them this time round across the races. But yeah, Brignoni in that Super G, it was just... yeah, it was a masterclass almost to watch in terms of what her mental preparation and feeling the pressure of that home games, the coming back after the injury. But I don't know whether having that injury, and she didn't ever state, oh, I'm going for gold, like that's what I can do. She sort of was just like, I don't know if I'll be there. If I'm there, I'm there. And she kind of then just turned up and sort of wiped the floor actually in Super G and Giant Slalom.
What did you think of the whole Vonn thing? I mean, after Commentator, did you expect to see her at the Olympics? Did you think, we all know Vonn, she's going to come? What did you feel?
Do you know, I was totally flip-flopping on the Vonn thing throughout. First of all, when she crashed at Crans-Montana, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, well, she skied down. I was like, she's fine. And then we got the reports, no, she's been helicoptered off. And I was like, that could not have been worse timing for her. Then she's like, no, I'm going for it. Then you see the video come out of her jumping around seemingly fine. And you know, I have to say, the cynic in me went, is that ACL actually ruptured? Like, that's mental that that's the condition she's in. And then you read into it and you're like, no, it really is ruptured. I was like, okay, fair dues. And then I was like, I'm on Lindsey Vonn's side a little bit now when all the criticism started to come out of like, what does she think she's doing? This is really stupid. Like, she shouldn't be allowed to. What about her health? And I was like, the longer that went on for, the more I was like, that woman knows her body better than anybody else. She knows this sport better than anybody else. She's been in these races for longer than the rest of the field. I think she understands the risk of what she's about to do. Obviously, then the race happened. Training runs, I was like, she's still in the game. She's going to win a medal. This is going to be a multi-million-dollar fairy tale story piece. It will be. Comes out the race, has that horrific crash. And then, do you know what? On TNT, they kept on showing, I don't know where.
I know, over and over and over.
Kept on showing. And Ed and I were just there like, can we maybe get away from this? Turn the sound down? Because that was horrific. And then
it was.
Now just having the sort of outcome of it all come out, and her saying that if she hadn't have done the ACL, her leg would have been amputated. Because of compartment syndrome. She had this doctor with her that was able to jump on things ASAP. You're just like, what a roller coaster. And we've been living that sort of alongside her for the last 2 weeks, haven't we? Or 3 weeks, which has just been unreal.
So bad decision or good decision in the end? The right decision
for Lindsey Vonn. I think she's a competitor. She loves the sport. She came back to the sport with the sole aim of that games, of that downhill, didn't she? She's had 12 wins over Super G and downhill on that piste. If anybody was going to be able to do it, it would be her. And I think what she's shown is that, and I think especially for female athletes in a moment in time where across the world, rights are sort of being stripped away and women's sports is being pushed down on a certain side of the Atlantic. She's gone out there and she's showing everyone, don't listen to the noise. You can go for what you want. You can try. You've got goals. You've got aims. And so I think it's been quite a positive story in that aspect of sticking to what you believe in.
It is interesting though, isn't it? This sort of fine line between the athlete and then the PR machine and the marketing value, you know. And, you know, when you read about, for example, Eileen Gu, who's like pocketing like $20 odd million a year or something, you're thinking, and she's like 20 odd years old, and you're thinking, which is really interesting because you wouldn't put it down for the ski business to be like that. That's sort of left for footballers and NFL and people like that. But then you start, you know, and you can see with the Schifrins and Vonn and people like that, there is an element of creating that story. I have similar cynic in me in the fact that I sort of think, okay. I mean, obviously it turned out dreadfully for Vonn, but the younger kids now are really realizing their value, aren't they? Some of these ones, and we talked about it just before we came on air, that some of the ones are noticing that actually if they create their own story online on Instagram and become successful at it, actually they start building their own value very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think this Games and Paris as well, the Summer Olympics, were great in giving us as the audience, as the viewer, an unparalleled insight into what the athletes are up to, what their experience of the Games is. And it's not that polished PR look for everyone. Although from Schifrin, we always get a very polished final piece. Yeah. But what we've started to get from her, I think, in her Instagram stories is that look behind the scenes in her hotel room, packing up, taking down all the notes that she's put on the mirror to be like, do you know what? You can bloom and do this. Just get it done. Like that she has those moments of doubt as well, where she needs to give herself that bit of beefing up, or the work that she's doing behind the scenes to overcome what happened to her in Beijing. And that's stuff that we wouldn't have the time to see on traditional broadcast. And I think this generation of athletes, they've realized people are interested and they've got the power. And I think what we're seeing now is that sports fans, you're more interested in the individual story and in the individual than you are in, say, the whole team or the nationality. And we're seeing that now. I know Lucas Bratton, he's Norwegian, he's done all his skiing there. That's where he learned to ski. But now with this Brazil story, the number of people he's picking up and taking them on that journey with him, it's amazing. And and then Eileen Goon, we're talking about these sort of marketing machines that these athletes have become. And it's very easy to look at it, I think, and be like, oh, they're not staying true to their roots or X, Y, Z. But then you think they're actually growing the sport massively. The revenue and the viewership that's coming in is just building that base again of a new, younger, fresher audience in our winter sports.
Do you think it puts a lot of responsibility? I mean, if you go, I suppose we could always say, like, you could go back in time before social media even existed. And of course, there was still media interest in sports. As a sports person, you had media interest. You had TV, you had radio, you had newspapers. And I suppose the ones that could grasp how that more, perhaps they put themselves in better positions. So I don't think in a way that hasn't changed. But of course, everybody now is exposed to it. And do you think that some athletes might feel that pressure to kind of compete on another, you're competing not only on the slopes, but you're competing on social media as well with others? And
yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd say the media obligations are still the same for those at the top, but what social media and everything is doing, it's giving the person starting bib 30, 35 an opportunity to raise their profile and sort of bring in sponsors. Revenue have been available to them because they wouldn't be getting interviews on TV. They wouldn't be being stopped in the mixed zone for something. But if they can show their personality and who they are through their social media and build a fan base that way. And I suppose someone like Ilona Maher in rugby is a really great example of that, because she's not the best rugby player in the world, but she's the most followed and most known rugby player in the world because we're seeing that sort of side of her, the personality side of her. And so if that comes over into ski racing and into any other sport, it's a huge opportunity.
It's the playing field in a way, doesn't it, as well? It levels the playing field. Like you say, it's a really good point. The fact you might be an relatively unknown with a bib number of 45 or whatever it might be, but you've got the same opportunities to tell your story now on platforms than someone in the top 5 in some ways. I mean, they're going to get more attention.
And I think that's where someone like Molly Butler from Britain has actually been really smart, and Laurie Taylor with the Behind the Brits, with the Fall Liners vlogs, is that they're really getting out to a bigger audience who's following their stories. And you know what? When Molly or Laurie, they make it big time, they're going to have fans and audiences that have been with them for such a long time. And it's just going to be such a stronger marketing piece at the end of the day, isn't it? Because they're going to have people that have followed them since they were teenagers. Like, I've been here, and there's such a loyal engagement base for them, which I think is a really exciting prospect.
So when Molly gets to the next Olympics in 2030, she's going to have 1 million followers already, which is going to be...
I mean, I don't see why not. She's a character and she's putting everything... I mean, I'm not saying that you have to put everything out there, but sort of telling your story, and it gives you that autonomy over your own story as well, doesn't it? She can shape who she wants to be, how she wants to be seen, who she wants to be aligned with, how she wants to be viewed.
The other interesting thing is thinking about the disciplines where we're performing so well. I'm thinking about, like the freestyle, the half pipe and that sort of stuff, where I guess they're kind of more, it's hard to say more exciting. It depends on what you like, isn't it? But we've grown up with downhill, watching Ski Sunday week in, week out. It's what we grew up in. But actually seeing the freestyle, the big air, the half pipe type stuff, it's such a cool thing for people to watch and engage with, isn't it? That I guess that's actually helping getting the general public more engaged in winter sports skiing, the whole discipline, or the whole lot, if you like, rather than just a single discipline.
Yeah, I think so. And you can pick and choose and you can follow, and then the algorithm, I assume, will do its thing, and you'll start to see, if you're a big ski cross fan, you're going to start seeing border cross and then big air half pipe. And I think that's what the Olympics does anyway. And you see the whole country get behind winter sports in those moments. But now that's going to maybe be translated more across that 4-year cycle, so that it's every winter, every season, and not just that once every 4 years moment.
And what else did grabbed your attention then in the Winter Olympics, other than the skiing and the slope stuff?
And the cheating scandals and the penis injuries.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that if you want.
It's probably best. I think they got their fair share of airtime.
True.
What my mind? I think I loved the skeleton. And I know we obviously did very, very well in it, but the bit that stood out for me was how much of a team they are in such an individual sport. And I thought that was a really lovely moment. I know Matt and Tabby won their gold in the team and Matt won his individual gold, but as a whole unit, they were so unified and just so, I know, outwardly happy, but I think inwardly happy for one another as well. When you see them again through social media out training and doing everything together, they're such a tight-knit group. And, I think that's just a really wholesome moment of the games. I think we saw that everywhere, actually, across curling, but obviously sad for the gold. But I do think those boys, they're really going to they're going to be good to beat come 2030 if they stick together as a team, because now that's going to be 8 years of that hurt that they're talking about rather than just 4.
Talk about making a sport that on the face of it looks and sounds a little bit boring, right? And how they've all made that sport so exciting to watch. And so many people I've spoken to over the last 2 weeks have said to me, "Oh, did you watch the curling last night?"
Oh yeah, like I booked out my evening. I was like, I'm not going anywhere on Saturday. Don't anyone ask me to do anything. I will be on the sofa watching curling for 3 hours or however long it's going to take.
Yeah.
But I live in Perthshire,
curling country,
curling hotspot, and it's like farmers that just all do it. And so it's quite spectacular. I think once everyone gets into the tactics, and that's what that exposure does, right? That putting it on TV for that couple of hours, and everyone suddenly understands, it's a lot more than just like trying to get something closest to the middle. I guess it's like once you get into Tour de France, isn't it? Once you see the team tactics, once you see everything.
A lot of sports are like that, right? Sure.
The bigger picture, you're just hooked.
That's right.
And talking about the social media aspect earlier, I'm sure you've seen all the memes, but I mean, you've got people scrubbing the floor in front of their robot hoovers. You've got mechanics that have got some device going down through the mechanics workshop, and they're all I mean, it just goes to show the diversity of the people that have engaged with it, of people of all kinds clearly loving it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that, and it wouldn't be getting the traction on social media. People have really got into it, and I think that's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to organise a social visit, I think, for my netball club to go curling at some point. Because
exactly.
But also, I think, and then what that's going to do, I tried to get into a curling position to do my Hoover video for socials, and it was actually really, really difficult. So also it's giving me appreciation of how flexible they are, because I was like, I can't even do this.
And just going back to the skeleton just for a second, because it's brilliant that we've got these gold medals in the skeleton, and obviously they have had some funding and they have had a really good sort of structured program over the last few years, and I think it just shows you what we can achieve when we get that kind of funding. I don't know that much about this. I think you'll know a lot more than I do about this, but do you think that might kind of spark things off a little bit? Do you think it might help for on the cash side, for the skiers, for the alpine ski program to get a little bit more cash? And do you think people will say, look what we can do with some real money, or is that naive, or am I wrong? I don't know.
To be honest, it's all in the hands of UK Sport and GBS at this moment, or mainly UK Sport, in what they can deliver or the cash they can provide to skiing. I mean, my understanding of it is again that we didn't get a top 8 result. We didn't get a podium. So there probably isn't going to be more cash coming down the line from UK Sport, but that might have changed. I know I might be out of the loop too far already.
Yeah.
But what it does show, you're right, is that cash injection is important. And once you have that and you can build a really robust program surrounded by professionals with a common goal, you can build something quite dominant within a sport. And I think we had UK Sport funding between 2018 and 2022 in Alpine. Yeah. And at the end of that cycle, you had Dave riding with a kit spool win, and you had 5 other individual Brits scoring World Cup top 30s. And that showed the depth that we were able to achieve by creating a slightly more professional, in the sense of having everyone surrounded by, proper help, proper professionals with a common goal of performance. And sadly, when the funding got stripped away, that sort of safety net around about got stripped away. And then you saw people like myself, Tilly, Raposo, who were on quite individual programs, not able to maintain what we were doing. Luckily, the boys did have that team where they could push through. Looking at our Alpine now, one of the big questions is, why has there been no women representing Alpine for Great Britain? Let's look at that funding structure. Let's look at the structures, the teams we've got in place, because at the moment there isn't a women's World Cup team in Great Britain. How can we build that? How can we put the Reese, the Vicky, the Molly together to build something with a common goal? Because their end goals are all the same. So it's like, how can we build that? And obviously that takes time, it takes money, it takes investment. But if we can get that, look at what's happened with the boys.
Sure. And we've got some super exciting talent coming up, haven't we? We've mentioned Molly, we've got the Carrick Smith boys as well, obviously doing great things at the moment on various circuits, hitting that World Cup level a little bit this season as well.
Yeah.
A lot to come, which is great.
Who are you looking out for that maybe isn't quite the finished article yet, but maybe was at the games this year that you're saying, do you know what, may not have done it this time, but next time he or she's going to do it?
Ooh. What tip for 4 years' time? For a medal?
Yeah.
Do you know who I really loved was Caitlin McFarlane from France,
right,
in the slalom. I think she's been really quite strong this season. There's a lot of attributes I see in there. She's coming. She's building. Because you've got, I'm going to count people like Couturi, Eicher. They're already there.
Sure.
They're on the World Cup podium anyway. It's going to happen. They've got it. Yeah, I think Caitlin, she's really stood out to me in the slalom, actually, as having some
Caitlin's from Morzine, isn't she? Is Morzine based, do you know? Oh, no, not sure.
It's somewhere around there.
Caitlin's got
she's got Australian
British,
dad.
Australian parents, yeah.
English
Australian
mum.
dad, yeah.
English mum, Australian dad, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and her head
based in Morzine.
St. Jean.
St. Jean d'Eau, right,
Where
near
she started
Morzine.
skiing. Yes, I think.
And what about in the British team?
Oh, well, I think the Carrick Smith boys are so exciting, aren't they? And Freddie, for me, with that Europa Cup results he's had this season, that's amazing. Yeah. And I think I've always been such a big believer in do your time in Europa Cup, get things nailed in there. Once you're getting your podiums there, you are absolutely ready to go and attack and do big things on the World Cup stage. And for me, Freddie's he's just moving through those ranks really nicely. He's not cutting any corners, taking any shortcuts. He's really putting in the graft, and that's exciting to see. I love that. And obviously, Molly, I love Molly. I love Molly's energy and everything, and the passion she's got for the sport that we see actually through her social media stuff. I don't know her extraordinarily well compared to the others, but because we get that insight, you're like, she really, really wants this. And so we're excited to see what she can do. And with a bit more support, injection, everything along the way.
I'm thinking about the future. Do you think we're locked in that sort of 4 or 5 medal position, or do you think we might be moving into a better position in future? Do you think for future Olympics we might be able to score more?
I don't see why not, to be honest, because we had that many 4th places as well this game.
Exactly.
So it's, for example, Kirsty Muir in the slope style was half a point getting bronze medal, and you kind of think, I'm not an expert again, but you kind of feel like if it was a different judge on a different day, maybe that could have been the other way around because it's so subjective in that sense. And then Mia Brooks as well, skaters, everyone. It was like, if a different day, we could have had 3-4 more medals.
Of course. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it?
So 2030 French Alps, is that what you're thinking about, or are you just thinking about getting through the next week, and the next time you're sitting in front of I suppose you've got a bit of World Cup commentary to do. World Cup finals.
Kicking back off with Andorra for women's speed this coming weekend.
Right.
So yeah, still on that World Cup tour. I think everyone, you dive back into the meat of the Alpine season. You get a little interlude for the Olympics and then straight back to the nitty gritty of things. And I think, for me, it's going to be looking at that World Cup season every year, and that's when you see your real contenders come through. And I'm looking forward to France. I think it's been great to have the games back in Europe again, and to get two on the bounce feels like quite. What about you guys?
Absolutely.
It's in the French Alps. I mean, seems like sort of second home, going back and forward to that area.
Oh yeah,
gotta be there next time.
We're so accessible. We can even just jump on a blooming train from London to get out. So
exactly.
Well, it's been great to have your insights today, Charlie. It's great hearing some of the plans for the future and what you thought of this year's games. We always asked every guest one question, which is a little bit off the wall from the Olympics, but if you could only ski one resort for the rest of your life, where would it be?
Zermatt?
Oh, okay.
You get Javinia too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got height just in case of any snow dramas. You've got big area. I know it seems maybe it's quite generic. I don't know, but
well, I mean, it's a good.
It's actually the first place I went abroad skiing.
Oh, well, that's okay.
My mind was absolutely blown when I realised there was more than one cafe that you could go to.
It's different to Glen Shee, slightly. Yeah. I mean, the fact that the first ski trip you ever did abroad was Zermatt. I mean, that's definitely a reason why you could pick that resort.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And it is an amazing ski resort. And you're right, you can pop over into Italy very easily as well.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, I don't know how big my bank balance is how long I'm going to be able to stay here. Strategically timed trips, perhaps.
That is.
Well, very good to have you on today. We could probably talk to you for another couple of hours at least. So it's been great to get some insights from you, and hopefully we can get you on the podcast again, which would be fantastic. But thank you very much for joining us today. It's great to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've had a good time.
Thanks, Charlie.
Great. Cheers. So, Rob, what have we got next? You've got a special guest for us, haven't you?
Yes, I caught up with the legend that is Eddie the Eagle Edwards. We know him well, don't we? And he's a great guy. It was nice to catch up with Eddie and have a little chat about the Olympics and what's going on.
Watch the movie. I've seen him jump. I've skied with him. Let's get Eddie on.
So how are you, Eddie? You good?
I'm okay. I've done 2 days of non-stop interviews, so
wow.
I'm getting a bit weary now.
Well, there's two things I'm going to say to that. First of all, you've obviously left the best for last.
Yeah.
And secondly, I feel honoured that you've done all those interviews and you're still prepared to speak to me. Oh my goodness!
Every time the Winter Olympics come round, they will think, "Oh, what's Eddie doing now?" and all that. So I get loads of stuff.
And what's your favourite sport to watch, when it comes down to the Winter Olympics? I mean, is it ski jumping or is it something else?
There are sports in particular I like during the Olympic Games. The ski jumping, the downhill. I like things like the ski cross and board cross and short track speed skating because I like the unpredictability. Anything can happen. When you've got 4 guys, they're elbowing each other and trying to go down a course.
It's interesting, isn't it? I had 2 things on the other day. I was watching the curling and the snowboard slopestyle, or ski slopestyle maybe. 2 completely different sports, but both kind of quite exciting in their own way. I mean, curling. The only time I watch curling is when they went to the Olympics. Have you ever done curling?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah.
I've done curling in Scotland and in Canada.
Nice.
And I went along to a couple of curling centres because they've got loads in Canada, and it's great.
Yeah, and I suppose that brings me to the question. It's sort of like we don't see any British ski jumpers in the Winter Olympic Games at all. And I mean, I guess there's obvious reasons for that. We don't have any ski jumping facilities in this country, right? But then we don't really have alpine skiing facilities really either, certainly not in England. So if there's someone there looking at what you did, getting to the Winter Olympic Games in 1988 in Calgary, and actually watching ski jumping on TV today and seeing some of those people, let's face it, quite young people jumping. What could a British person do to think, actually, maybe I could do that? Maybe I could follow in Eddie the Eagle's footsteps.
I think the only way we're likely to get any ski jumpers in the future is if we actually build a ski jump centre in the UK, because you've got to start early. You've got to start young, 4, 5, 6 years old, because you don't really understand fear. And then it's only when you're sort of at 8, 9, 10 when you really start to understand fear, by which time, hopefully, you've started to develop the technique to ski jump. It's no good starting when you're 16, 17 and 18, because you need to be world class by then.
And I think that's what makes what you did, Eddie, so amazing, because what you've just described there is exactly how you have to be to get onto the top of that ski jump. I remember quite a long time ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago or something, I was with you in Courchevel, and you were ski jumping in Courchevel, and I was standing on the top of that ski jump, hanging on for dear life, going, oh my goodness, I'm scared just standing on top of this thing, let alone launching myself down it, right? Which you did. And then a 12-year-old girl came along, put her skis on and slid straight down and went off the jump. It was second nature to her.
Yeah.
And what was it like when you stood that first time on top of that jump and went, I'm going to throw myself down here?
I was very, very scared, of course, but I was only scared enough to make me focus and concentrate, because I didn't want to hurt myself. I didn't want to kill myself. And I used techniques to overcome that fear and make sure. And of course, I was also extremely confident in my ability. I knew I had enough about me to be able to land on my feet. And so long as I could land on my feet, I'm going to be safe. And I relied on that. And after the first couple of jumps, I thought, well, actually, that's not so bad. And then I started to develop a little bit of a technique. It's a very, very scary thing to do. People could really relate to me because they thought, wow, well, maybe I could have been doing something like that.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. I mean, obviously, you're a very, very good alpine skier, alpine ski racer, professional ski racer. And I guess having that ability on skis is a massive advantage, of course, and people possibly don't realize that.
And my knowledge with skiing helped tremendously. I knew that side of things was fine.
And, we talked about the fact that you've done lots of interviews recently. You've just helped launch, the Eddie the Eagle's Olympic Highlights Readily app, right?
Yes.
And,
it's a newspaper and magazine app with over 8,000 titles, apparently. And people can sort of join it and pay a monthly subscription and have access to all these magazines, which is actually not bad, really.
Well, it sounds great. We've talked a little bit about the Olympics. You must have skied with some pretty famous ski racers as well over the years.
When I was in Canada about 10 years ago, I was there, I think it was for the 20th anniversary of the Olympics. I went skiing in a couple of the ski resorts, and I bumped into Ken Reid. Now, I used to love Ken Reid, and he was part of the famous Canadian group.
Yes, and Crazy Canucks, right?
That's right, the Crazy Canucks. And there was Dave Irwin and Ken Reid and Steve Bodborski and all these guys.
Nice.
And I skied with them, and I thought, oh my God, I used to look up so much to these guys. And one of the most famous people that I really, really admired was Ingemar Stenmark back in the day. And I met him at a golf tournament. I was doing a golf tournament in Rome, of all places.
Oh, wow.
And I went up and had a chat with him, and he was very, very shy, very quiet. But I said, you cannot believe I loved you to bits, watching Ski Sunday religiously every Sunday, and you were there, and and it was lovely to meet my idol, really.
Well, I've just remembered a time when I was in Austria with you, Eddie, and we'd skied together for a day, and then afterwards we were in a bar and you were mobbed. You were mobbed for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
But you were brilliant. You were absolutely brilliant with everybody. How does that make you feel?
I'm amazed that people still do that. And it's lovely because it's not just Brits. It's, people from all over Europe, people who are interested in skiing and ski jumping. They come along and they say, oh my God, hello. And they have selfies and all that kind of thing. It's lovely to chat them. And I am very grateful that I get all that attention, and it's really, really nice.
I think the fact that you put so much effort into that is an amazing credit to you. And next time you're down at Gloucester, let me know, because it's only a 45-minute drive for me. I'll pop down, and it would be lovely to have another ski with you again. It's been brilliant catching up. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem.
Especially considering I am your 60-second interviewer in the last 24 hours.
Yes.
Brilliant energy as always. Thank you very much.
You.
Eddie the Eagle Edwards. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, that was great to hear from. He is such a cool guy, isn't he? He's such a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Incredible that he's not, he's not into sitting down and watching the sports, is he? He lets that all bypass him a little bit, doesn't he?
It sort of slightly took me by surprise, that. I was hoping for a bit of insight into, what was going on at the Winter Olympic Games. It was like, I haven't got a clue. Even watch it. Amazing. I was like, okay.
But it's great hearing when you talk to him about the first time he was at the top of that ski jump and basically saying, I was shitting myself. Fair play. What a guy. 63 interviews in the last couple of days, eh?
But people love him. And, when I've been at an event, and I've been at several events with Eddie over the years at that event, extremely famous. Who gets the biggest reception of all?
Amazing.
He does.
Amazing.
He always does. Great.
Well, thanks very much, Eddie, for joining us. So that's it for our Olympic special. What a lovely little roundup, Rob. All those great little stories we've had. Lots of good fun there. Charlie Guest on, Eddie the Eagle Edwards, and you and me. What more could people possibly want out of a Winter Olympics podcast special?
Well, I just hope everybody listens to this and feels like I do right now. Massive FOMO. First of all, FOMO for not being at the Olympics. Secondly, FOMO that the Olympics is now over. I mean, I'm not missing. We're not missing. Kind of not FOMO, is it? But you know what I mean. I'm gonna miss that buzz watching one of those events at least every day and really enjoying it all. So here's to the next 4 years. 4 years away, we'll be in the French Alps, Dom. Just think about that. We'll be in the French Alps, and we'll be there. I think I'll be there next time.
It needs to be every 2 years. We should have Summer Olympics every 2 years, Winter Olympics every 2 years. There's no reason for it to be every 4 years.
Why don't we both go to Crans-Montana in February next year, beginning of February next year, for the Alpine Skiing World Championships. 10 days of alpine ski racing in Crans-Montana, 2027. That's the next big thing in the diary. We need to do that.
I would love that. Amazing.
Let's do it.
Well, thanks for talking today, Rob. Great to get those guests on this week. What a great Olympics episode. Listener, I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do make sure you do leave us a review. It's so important to leave a review because it means our podcast gets found by more skiers. Thanks for listening, Rob. Wherever you're going next, safe travels. Adios.
Have a good one. See you.
No, talkie-walkie. I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie.